Okay, we are preparing the live stream. Should be able to see it over here on this end. Okay, we are live. Awesome. All right, so let me edit this real quick. So the information so everybody can know who you are and where to find you. Bam. All right, save. Okay, now going back. Oh. Híjole, ¿dónde me fui?
Me?
There we go. I was like, what happened? Okay.
No, I think that's the intimidating part for me. So that I don't understand it too much. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. But no, I have to. Like, you're the sign. And I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it. She's gonna tell me you need to do it. So
yep.
It's my goal. It'll happen.
Eso es verdad. No te voy a dejar que te vayas así nomás hiding.
I know. It'll happen hopefully in November. I'll get it done.
Okay, so here we are with Samantha Cruz-Ochoa. Hi, everyone. And she is the founder of Amethyst Hands. Let me just go ahead and go onto a different screen real quick. Okay. So I can see you guys better. Here we go. Okay. And hopefully this is on mute. Okay, this is on mute. All right. Okay, so hi, Norma. So here we are. So you want to, I'm going to start recording this now so that I can send this to you. All right. Norma says she loves the name Amethyst Hands. Oh, so we're going to cover a lot of cool things, you know, about her journey. So that's what I want to start with. Sam, about your journey. I would say kind of like give us some information about when did you start noticing that you had, you know, these mediumship and psychic abilities?
Wow. So, so from the time I was really young, so just so you know, I'm going to be 40 years old tomorrow on Halloween, and I'm so excited. It's been a 40-year-old journey. But from the time that I was really young, I remember knowing, just having this deep knowing that there was a mission for me. And at that age, you know, like I'm going to say about 7 or 8, I remember always talking to God. I've always just spoken to the higher power. I've always been a prayer. And I remember always saying, you know, God, I know I have a mission. I know that there's more to this earth than just playing with Barbies and outside. Like there's more to it. I just had this in my gut inner knowing. And I remember I would put my hands out and I would say, I want to be able to heal like Jesus, right? And I'm ready. And there I was at 7, 8 years old saying, I'm ready to do this. Just show me my mission and I'm ready. And oh gosh, you know, not knowing, you know, the array of things that need to happen to almost prepare you, right? And so let's see. So we moved when I was about 12 years old. So I remember between 12 and 13, I don't know how I knew that I had an ability to heal with my hands. It was almost like I always hear intuitively through my right side. And I just remember hearing, because my mom suffered from migraines. And I remember Spirit saying, like, just use your hands and you'll be able to just follow us and remove that migraine. And without even questioning it, yet at the same time confused, you know, I would be guided to do whatever it is that I needed to do. And she would pass out. And she would, but you know, the funny thing with that is, yeah, she would pass out, like she'd fall asleep, her migraine would go away. But growing up in a household, you know, of Hispanics and being Catholic, there was always that label of you're weird, you're a witch, and you're making up stuff. You don't have such an ability. And so that was really hard for me. I really couldn't hone in on this ability that I had though I knew I had an ability, and at the same time I didn't know it was called an ability, but how could I continue to practice that if it was followed with you're a witch? And sometimes I would laugh at it because, like I said, my birthday's on Halloween, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, it's a witch. But the feeling that came from the way it was portrayed and the way it was said to me was kind of hurtful. So you're growing up and you're going through, life trying to fit in, going through the gangster phase and trying to find who you are. You kind of set that aside. And, with intuition, like it was always there also. And every time I would share experiences, like I totally knew that was going to happen. I totally knew they were going to say that, or I know that person's full of it and they're lying. And then later on, it turns out that it's true. Again, there was always that doubt on, am I crazy? Am I making up stuff? Is this really a thing? Ghostly experiences happened my whole childhood, from sheets being pulled, even though I was awake, just frozen with my eyes open and just seeing my sheets being pulled, feeling the presence of, these entities sitting next to your bed and just like feeling, the side of your bed go down. I mean, it was paranormal activity after paranormal activity. And when I'd go to my mom, this is what's going on, she would say, it's your sins. I'm 7. What are my sins? I didn't eat all my tortillas last night. It was like, it was really hard having these abilities and not having someone to teach you, show you, guide you. But then you felt it was wrong to a certain degree, your sins, and then you're weird, and then you're a witch. And then when I went to go talk to a priest, it was like, oh, I have to go to your house to do an exorcism. I'm like, oh, heck no. No. Just let the paranormal activities continue. Just leave it alone. So, like I said, life is happening, trying to find yourself, boy stuff, whatever. And it wasn't until I was probably in my early 30s, probably just hitting my 30s, that I did a lot of inner work. I was having issues in my marriage. And I remember Spirit saying, Sam, you have to stop pointing the finger at your husband. You have to point the finger at yourself first. And I'm like, me? But I'm perfect. Like, what do I need to do with myself? No. And so, and it wasn't until, oops, sorry. And when I started to do more of that healing, when I started to open more of my heart space, when I started to learn how to forgive and just remove the layers of what was still holding me, small and back, and in my feelings of unworthiness, more than anything, my heart space is when my gifts and abilities just started to come in fast with clarity. I started to hear, I started to know more, I started to connect even better. I started off with Reiki. And I always say, Reiki was my stepping stone. Reiki, I would do it, work with friends and family. And one day, I remember I didn't activate the Reiki codes for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think I was so in really just setting the intention of what we were going to do for this person and this friend, that I didn't, I didn't, do the Reiki codes. And all of a sudden I was on fire. There was this purple flame just wrapping around me. It was this flame coming out of my hands. For some reason, I feel like crying right now, just remembering. It was this overwhelming feeling in my hands. And that's when I felt the violet flame come in all on its own. And it was just that, like, the ability has been evolving since then. Never again did I activate the Reiki codes. I respect Reiki. I love Reiki. It totally works. I just didn't have to go there anymore. It was all through the violet flame, and everything guided by Spirit after that. I can have a plan during my sessions that we're going to do it this way, and Spirit will be like, nope, we're going to do it this way instead. So it's been an interesting journey, but I always say your gifts and abilities come in when you do more of the heart space and, the forgiving. As a Scorpio, I always thought myself as being super unforgiving. You did something to me, I'm gonna cut you off and we're done. And, the grudge. But once you do that healing, all of that just goes away and your gifts and abilities just come in, with clarity and fast.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, I do have to ask about your mediumship. Okay, so I know there's different, I would say versions of mediumship. Can you elaborate on how your mediumship helps you with helping your clients?
Oh my gosh. So, just really quickly, being able to see, I don't see like third dimensionally, right? Because a lot of people ask me that. How do you see people on the other side? It's not like I see a third dimensional person in front of me. I see them in my mind. It's almost like a memory. I'm having a telepathic conversations with them. I could see who they were when they were here on earth. I can hear different accents. I will never forget the time I was talking to a client and they were talking like in a total Southern accent. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. But growing up, I didn't know that there was such thing as mediumship. Everything that I just called psychic, being psychic, right? Seeing the dead was being psychic and knowing what psychicness. It wasn't until maybe about, let's say, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago, I found a lady who is a medium, and she was opening a course on helping you hone in with that ability, and it was like mediumship, and I was reading the description, and I'm like, oh, I have that ability of mediumship. It's called mediumship. Okay, and she helped me so much with being able to differentiate between, the doubt and the knowing, right? Because I still had doubt, even though I was listening, even though I was seeing, even though I was hearing, I still doubted it because I didn't have any guidance or anybody to teach me. So she helped me how to really hone in on that more. Why do I think that having this ability as mediumship is just incredible with, with healing? Is because I myself lost my first husband after 4 years of being married, and when I sought out the first medium to help me with that connection, it helped me so much with being able to continue with my grieving process. There was so many questions that I had. What was he thinking at that moment that, he was shot? Before he was shot, this happened. What was he thinking about me? Should I have been there? Could I have saved him? So there were so many questions that didn't allow me to heal because who was going to answer this for me? I was working when all of this was happening. So when I went to this man who was actually a retired police officer, amazing gift. He answered so many questions. He said so many things that only I knew and only my deceased husband knew. The events that, it helped me out so much. Sorry. It was like, all right, I get it. There was nothing I could have done to change that. It helped me out so much. So when I had the opportunity to hone in on my ability, I knew that I wanted to do that, to provide that closure and that healing for people. The questions that they have, I think that one of the questions that a lot of people ask when they want to connect with a loved one is, I just want to know if they're okay. I mean, they can have so many other questions about problems that were left behind, but at the end of the day, the one question that comes up all the time is, I just want to know that they're okay. And I realized that the reason they ask that is because we are left behind not okay. We're the ones that are here not okay. We're still sad and we're still feeling the loss and we still remember them as they, were probably suffering from an illness. And you can just see once their loved one comes in and you're making that connection and you're relaying the messages, and you could just see all of that grief just wash away. I mean, there's still a journey of healing, but it's a big load of heaviness that just falls off. You could see it just in that instant, whether if it's through Zoom or in person. So I love that I can, facilitate that connection because I have seen how it really helped me out. And I see it in that instant, being able to, make that connection and being able to relay the messages back and forth. A lot of the time, the loved ones will bring a gift that they want to give you, give them. And that is always just so pretty. I cry a lot of the time because the feelings and the emotions are just so overwhelming. So I believe and you might have heard this too, not every psychic has the ability of mediumship, but everybody who is a medium has the ability of psychicness, because it's two different things. So I'm glad that I have that capacity to do that, to also help on that level, not only energetically with my hands, but also being able to connect them with their loved ones.
That's awesome. Let's talk about your business and the name Amethyst Hands. I kind of get the clue as to how you got that name, but I would like you to explain how you came up with it, or how you were kind of, I guess, inspired to create your healing business.
So, like I said, it started off with Reiki, word by mouth. Friends would come over here to my space at home, and I just knew, like, I kept hearing, like, okay, Sam, you got to expand. You got to get yourself out there. And it's like, it was the most scariest thing for me. And one day I sat there, just trying to be creative and creating my logo, and finding pictures from Google. And I felt like I was like, ooh, I'm stepping up in the world, I made my own logo, and I created the page on Facebook. And when I sat there, before I created my logo at that time, kind of really still don't have one, but I sat there and I said, what am I going to call? What am I going to call this? What am I going to call myself? What am I going to call my business? And, there was a lot of different stuff that came up that I felt like was going to be, it's going to sound good. But again, Spirit said, Amethyst Hands. I heard it so clearly. And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Amethyst, it transmutes, and it just, heals, and I just started relaying out loud what, Amethyst Hands does. And, with the violet flame, how it transmutes and it transforms and it heals. I was like, that, and it's hands. I'm like, that's perfect. I feel like a little girl, like I got my own name and it's going to be with me forever. I'm never going to change it. So I created the logo, created the page, and I sat there hesitant to hit that button of, create it and make it happen. To make it happen, because I remember for a second thinking, I had gone through so much healing, which means I had so many teachers and so many coaches and guides. I don't know if I had already met you by then, but I had so many teachers that had helped me out with my healing. And for a second, I was allowing doubt and fear to really just overtake me, because it was like, Sam, but who are you to create a page? You have all these teachers and you're supposed to stay down here where you're still the student. Like, who are you? Like, here I was having this conversation back and forth with myself. Who are you to create a page? Who are you to be, call yourself a healer? And then it was like, I felt Spirit, like Mexican style, man, grab my ear, pull me, like, what do you mean? Jalón de orejas. And it's like, it's not a competition. It's not a competition with who's supposed to continue as a teacher and a student. Like, everybody's healing. We're here to help each other out, as, like, I like to say it and see it as a domino effect to, you help me and I help her, and let's find your gifts and abilities and find your passion and your mission and your purpose. And let's get you going to the next person so that we can continue all healing each other and raise our vibration, so that we can all just merge with, with this 5D that we're merging with, and hopefully one day my purpose and my vision is to live in a place where we live like in the times of Atlantis. Seriously, I dream of that. But God, I talk so much, don't I? I just get so passionate and so excited. But so that's how, Amethyst came to be. Spirit was like, Amethyst Hands. I doubted that, I should even create this, but I was like, no, boom, let's hit the button, let's make it happen. And here we are. It's been a very blissful journey. I'm booked in the month of November. I'm booked in the month of December. I have to open my schedule for January. It's been amazing. And I'm glad that, that I could just do this for others, so that they can go on and find their, amethyst within them, and then just do this for everybody.
Perfect. Yeah. So I kind of figured to me, I always feel like whoever I would say work with always needs that extra push. You guys are at that peak looking down and you're like, oh, wondering what can I do here, and then I'm just like, boop, go for it.
And you have definitely helped me out a lot, and you've been one of those like, come on Sam, get it done.
Yeah.
So no, definitely appreciate meeting you and crossing paths with you, because it's been an amazing journey, and you have definitely helped me out a lot, and my sisters as well, so I thank you for that.
Yeah, we just need the other bruja to step it up too.
Yes, the other two, right? Because there's four of us. You still haven't met the youngest one, but the other one needs to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Because I was, talking to her like the other time where she booked with me, and there's so much similarities between you guys, especially like the abilities, where she like how you sense when someone's lying to you, she senses it like right away too. And so I'm just like, it's like a family thing, like lie detectors. Like you guys are like lie detectors, and you guys could definitely see like, for energetically speaking, because you're both water signs. I find this fascinating how your family, all three of you guys are water signs, and only the youngest one is the youngest one is like what is it? She's an air sign, or?
She's a Gemini.
Yeah, so she's an air sign, but she still has that psychic ability because Geminis are really psychic too. And so I find this fascinating that you are the oldest and the Scorpio, and then comes, the Cancer, Pisces, and then Cancer.
Carla's Pisces.
Oh, Carla,
yeah, Pisces
second.
And Cancer. And
oh, okay. And so like that, and I'm just like, wow, like you guys were meant to be here, around this time. And because you guys are all water signs, you're super sensitive, you're super empathic and super psychic. And so it's like a family tradition, I would say, of brujas or psychics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? I think you might have said at the beginning when I first started working with you, they had not even started their journey at all. I had already done tons of work, and then, I meet you, and I remember you saying something like, you're going to be a catalyst for, a lot of the ancestral healing. And I remember thinking to myself, like, me, like, what the heck am I going to do? My sisters are stubborn. We're actually all stubborn. There's no way that those girls are ever going to change, even if you put them in holy water. Like, I remember thinking that. There is no way those girls are going to change. But you know what? I'm glad they finally said yes to, understanding what healing is, understanding of what that witchiness is. One of those sisters sat here with me, finally, decided to do a session with me. I always respected the fact that if she didn't, because we're sisters, and she probably thought I was always going to be biased by what was going to come through, right? So she finally sat here with me, and she has her ability, she has her passion. I could see her purpose with clarity. And you know what she said to me? She said, but who am I to be a healer? And I said, what do you mean, who are you? Now, healer doesn't always necessarily mean healing with hands or healing magically, right? Healing is having the capacity maybe to get through, people with disabilities or the youth, right? Because like for her, like she can get through the youth, and maybe through music or poetry or art. However, so we sat there talking, and she says, but I don't have a story of dark night of the soul. And I said, what do you mean, child? She says, I don't have a story of addiction. I don't have a story of, like all the stuff you went through. I don't have a story where I'm going to say, yeah, I was in this hole and I'm going to come out like the phoenix and now I'm a healer. I said, but you have it all wrong. It doesn't have to be of you having a story like that. You can be a healer just because you're a healer. All you have to do is just remove these layers and these blockages and these, old labels. Like for me, my blocks, it was tons of limited belief, growing up in an environment where my mom always said, don't do that because what are people going to say? Don't act like that because people are watching. So I grew up with a sense of not knowing who I was and going through depression because I realized that myself, my true, light just wanted to shine through, but it wasn't going to be okay with the rest of the world. It wasn't going to be accepted. Right. So it's like, well, my inside is trying to just, push out and try to come through. Society and my, family was trying to keep you like this. That was my healing. Those were my layers that I needed to, remove. All the branding and the labeling and again, having to be who society expected me to be. But I said to her, no, it's like when you heal, when your purpose is just going to become more clear. You don't need to have a story like that. So I think that's maybe a false belief that you need to have this story of that phoenix, right? Burning down to the ashes and rising up. It doesn't have to be like that all the time. No. Anyway, yeah. So I'm just glad they finally said yes to their journey and their healing. And it's always going to look different. One thing I'm going to take advantage right now is when I was talking to Carla, which is she's 3 years younger than me, we were talking one day about how it really hindered me in my my self-esteem because my mom used to always say, you guys are so dumb. You guys don't think with your head. You guys are animal with 2 feet, right? And now if Hispanics sat in a circle talking about that, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, that's a Mexican family for you, right? Yeah. But it really affected me because I grew up believing that I was possibly mentally challenged. And I mean, no, I'm not, but I grew up with that belief that I probably was because of how my mom used to talk to us. And so when I was sitting there talking to my sister, Carla, who's 3 years younger than me, she says, oh, it didn't affect me that way. And I'm like, well, it did me, darn it. Like it really did. And I realized that as she started her journey and Elizabeth to my third sister, as they started their journey, I wanted to dictate how their journey was going to be. Right. And I like, oh, so you're going to go through this and you're going to go through that. And then I remember Spirit saying, your journeys are different. This is your journey. Things hindered you differently. And even if you had the same mom, same dad, lived in the same household, things are going to affect each and every one of you differently. Perceptions are different. As you're growing, you have experiences that maybe that sister didn't have. And so your journey of healing is going to be totally different. And I sat there and explained that to her. And I said, you know what? I realized that your journey is your journey. I'm here to hold space for you. I'm here to help you out if you have any questions. But your journey, might look up like this, where mine is, going all the way down here, then going all the way up here. It's just going to be different, even if we live in the same household. So I stopped having to, say anything to my mom like, well, how come you did this with me, but not with her? Or how come, mom didn't say this to you, but she said this to me? Like, it's different. If I'm not the same person I was a week ago, of course, my mom's not going to be the same person 3 years later when she has a new child. And then 8 years later, another one, and then as she's going through menopause, she has another one. She's going to parent differently. So of course it's going to be different. And of course the journey of healing is going to be different. So, I said to my sisters, I'm here if you need. I introduced them to StariAri, to all the others out there, go to them if you need them. But the journey is always going to be different, even if you grew up in the same household. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have a sister, an older sister. We were really close in age though. So we really we really had a similar experience.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I thought you were the oldest one. I thought she was younger.
No, I would say that I act like the oldest one. No, I would say we're the same because we're fire signs. My mom's a fire sign. She's a fire sign. I'm a fire sign. So, and it's funny because our moons are in water. Like she's a moon in Cancer. She's a Leo moon in Cancer. I'm a Sag moon in Pisces. And my mom is a Sag moon in, I think hers is Virgo though. Like that's the only difference. Okay. And so she's very like mentally fortified, not really in touch or in tune with her emotions. And so that's how she raised us. And so with my sister being more sensitive, I always say that she's more sensitive because has that Cancer mood.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Empieza a llorar right away. So she like if she gets like scolded by my mom or something, you know, she gets stressed out, starts to cry easily. And I noticed that as a kid that she never got really scolded because she was the perfect Missy, like, I like school, I like doing everything mom says. And me, I was like, no, the opposite. So, but she would experience the way that my mom would speak to us because my mom was loud and she was like, oh man, you're gonna yell that again, you know. So I understand. So yeah, but we have different journeys, of course, but it's kind of like, for her, what I've noticed with Cancers is that they understand beyond the words, like beyond in the background of the emotion that's behind the words. And so for her, that's her ability. It's like she understands the experience because of the words, the frequency of the words or the emotion behind the words. And so to me, with you and your sister, I think Elizabeth in particular, that's how, like, I feel like that's how you guys communicate. Like when you guys communicate, you communicate with the emotion behind the words. And so she picks up on something that you might have not picked up on, or vice versa, you know? And so I think that's really, to me, it's like kind of fascinating to see you guys and how you interact. And so she might feel like you're being harsh, or you might feel she's being harsh, or, you know, things like that, or the same with your mom or things like that. So to me, I feel like you guys definitely have that emotional connection to words, where you feel it in your heart, instead of like somebody saying something to you and you're like, they don't mean that, you know, they mean something else.
Right. And you know what? And it's been really hard. It's funny that you say, you know, my words can probably come out really harsh, and then hers too, you know, because as you say that, I'm looking back at our journey, you know, growing up, and there was a lot of conflict. And I think that a lot of the healing we have to do too is amongst each other. And I love it. I just love it to see, like I said, you know, that they're on this journey, because it's really allowed us to not take everything to heart, you know, what's being said, you know, really understanding that we're really have the intention of coming from a good place. And I'm just trying to say, you know, XYZ, nothing bad about it. Whereas before it was like, I was probably not even done with my sentence, and there was already an argument, and there was already a trigger. And it's been a journey of healing, not only individually, but also as sisters. And I can't wait to see once they have more of that bigger breakthrough, because I could see us just like, this is probably going to sound funny, but I see us just holding hands in a circle, doing something totally witchy with whatever abilities, once it comes through for Carla. And once, you know, baby, we call her baby, once she accepts what she fully has the capacity to do. But first there has to be, you know, still more of that healing, but it's really brought us closer, and it's really been amazing, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I love seeing how you guys are all working together and things like that. I feel like you guys have like this big, like, you started the ripple effect, of course, you know, you were the tip of the spear, so to speak. And then here comes, you know, Elizabeth, and then Carla, and then the other, you know, your other sibling. And it's just like, it feels like it's like a ripple effect. Like you were the tip of the spear, and then it like kind of like vibrated downwards to them. And I feel like they have so much to give the world. It's just a fear of failure that they might be tapping into. Like, I think this is like a hereditary thing for all of you guys, where there's a fear of failure, or a fear of like not being enough, you know, not being good enough, psychically speaking, or something, you know, that you feel like you're gonna like mess something up or whatnot. And it's just like, to me, that's coming from a generational thing. Like it's like
That's
you guys are definitely very similar in that frequency. And that's why it's taking you guys a little bit, or not you, but like your other siblings, taking them time to really accept this about themselves and really accept their gifts, because they're very, to me, when I see your family tree, because that's how I perceive your energy, is like a big family tree. And I see you guys at the really very top of it, like branching out up to the heavens. And then I see everybody else, generationally speaking, on the bottom. And then of course the root and the, everything else from generations. And I see that there was always a frequency of like wanting to go for your goals, but hesitation at the same time. And so it kind of like started to like, people started to branch out different ways, disconnect themselves and things like that. But I feel like you guys are the primaries now, especially more than ever, of like making sure that your generation and your lineage is healed completely, so that your children, because your children are in the sky, your children are like floating in there, like they're up there frequency wise, they're going to be the ones that are like, I always see them like as superhumans, like these generations of kids that are just like super psychic and super, just their abilities are beyond even our imagination, And so that's what I see. It's like you guys are like, bam, bam, like allowing them to have freedom, so that they don't have to worry about the generational issues and that, because that is being healed by their moms, and so I feel like you guys have a very strong connection in that way, that you're all assisting each other in healing those generational issues and really helping your children thrive, that they don't even have to worry about that, like they don't have to worry. So it's really important for everyone to be on the same page, and when it comes to healing, of course, but different journeys, of course, but still doing the work, and even if you feel like, for your sisters, even if they don't feel like they're doing the work, they are. They are, even if they're not conscious about it. It's a subconscious thing. They're doing the work in dream space, and of course you're there all the time, so you already know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's huge, right? So like I said, I never would have thought that they would have ever started the journey, but even for them, and I say this lovingly, but even for them to be able to acknowledge how they feel, like, is huge right there. It's huge. Like that's huge with healing, because it's all about feeling and understanding, okay, what's going on in there. The little one, she's I think there's a 15-year gap between me and the youngest one, 15, 16 years. It's going to take her a while, but I think a lot about my kids when I do healing, because I don't want them to have to carry, those self, limiting beliefs that I grew up in. And I realized that there is a lot from my mom's side, but my mom's side is the witchy side. I mean, the psychic side. I mean, I used to grow up, when growing up and we'd visit my grandma in Mexico, it's like, how the heck does she know that? How does she know that too? It was really frustrating. And then my mom too. It was like, before I even thought it, my mom already knew, but they never called themselves, having an ability or psychic or gifted or anything. And they used to irk me. How does she know that? If I hid something in my room, how the heck did she find it? And I know that my mom has cousins who, had this ability that was just amazing. So it runs a lot on my mom's side of the family, but there is a lot of that submissiveness. There's a lot of that, that, I don't want to necessarily say culture, but that era, it's like the macho man. And they're like, okay, whatever you say. And I'm like, no, we're going to break that. And definitely, and our kids, my kids are very, very sensitive. My daughter's definitely going to follow in my footsteps. I just know it. She is an empath, very gifted, has very prophetic dreams. My son, I actually see him doing the healing work as well, like actually doing what I do. He is such a sensitive little guy. He's like boy all the way in every sense of the word, but he also has this big heart and just can connect and understand. And Elizabeth, who we call baby, her kids, her little one. I mean, I think she unknowingly opens portals and unknowingly invites spirits into her house. So very gifted. It's just crazy. And it's like, I'm just glad for me with my kids that I'm able to guide them and teach them and help understand and see beyond just kids being sensitive. It's like, okay, what's really going on versus, with us growing up, it was like, oh, you want to cry for something? Let me give you a reason to cry about. You know what I mean? It's so different, right? Um, you know, put your big panties on and just come on, let's go. But I'm just glad that I could be here for these kids who, like you say, are definitely born with a totally different DNA structure. You know, they have these abilities, they have the capacity, they know beyond the knowing. And I'm just glad I could be there for them. And, that baby's doing the work so that she can help the little ones that are here to help, you know, the new world, the new earth.
Exactly. So, I would like to know a little bit more about what you're planning for your future. If you have any other projects coming up, like a YouTube channel.
Yes, yes,
Comment
Maestra,
down.
yes. So I've sat with that. We know that Facebook and that whole, Facebook is changing. I feel, and we've talked about this before, it's about me just jumping off the ship of being in the hospital setting and really dedicating myself to Amethyst Hands because of the fact that I'm so, I'm booked up for November, I'm booked up for December. I sat at my lunchtime just going like, whoa, like how did this happen? I probably need to leave the hospital setting so that I'm able to have more availability for my clients, more availability for me to breathe and for me to just, relax and tune in and obviously spend time with my family as, we do other things like, baseball, traveling with my son. But a YouTube channel has been on my mind after I did that podcast with that, person I was telling you about. I was like, StariAri mentioned it a long time ago. My mediumship told me a long time ago. It's been coming up left and right. I know she's going to say it again today, and sure enough, you did. So I know I need to do it. So YouTube channel for sure. Leaving the hospital setting by the end of this year is going to happen. Amethyst Hands, being able to do that brings me so much joy. I get so excited every single time I see a client. I get so excited once they leave because you could just see the transformation like right there in their face. You see it energetically, you feel it. You just see that just how different they look. And this is just something I want to continue doing. So I do have an Instagram page as well that I feel like I need to connect more to that. But leaving the hospital setting for sure is a big, big one for me so that I'm able to just dedicate myself fully, engage more because I want to engage every day, but kids, family life and being exhausted. I don't want to transmit that as I come on live. That's going to be probably the biggest step that I'm going to take is leaving, the 8 to 5 job. I've been doing this since 2005. It's super scary, but I know that once you step away from that and just align with your heart space and aligning with what brings you joy, I just know that it's just going to take off from there. I just know it. So it's just, that's probably one of the biggest things. And doing the YouTube channel.
Of course. And what's funny is that remember when I kind of hinted at like, hey, if you start doing this full time, like you're going to get this, I would say the universe is going to provide for you a stability that you need in order for you to leave that behind, and you just said that you're booked till December. And so to me, it's just like, bum, 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 right there.
Yeah, I know.
Like proof right there.
That and it's like it really just happened all of a sudden. And I just keep looking at the calendar and I'm like, I think I could fit someone here. And it's like, nope, you can't. You need that time to breathe. You need that time to collect yourself again. And I'm telling you, at lunchtime, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, like when did this happen? So yeah, I just know I hear it. I keep kind of like pushing it back, but it's there. It just has to happen. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. And, you know, and I think more than anything, I feel that a lot of your experiences with the hospital setting, you know, because I remember you kind of speaking about what's happening, you know, there. I feel like it's like the energy there is no longer, I would say, it's not matching your higher frequency. And so to me, I feel like that in itself is definitely pushing you forward too, where you are going to have this sense of freedom
Mhm.
to do as you want, to schedule your schedule, to be your boss, you know, and to
Mhm.
provide your services to humanity, of course, you know, full time. And I just can't wait. I'm just like, yay!
I know. And it's so funny because I don't like being told what to do. And it's like the older that I get, the more I realize that. And I'm like, no, I don't want to follow that rule. I mean, I follow laws, right? I'm not a law, you know, I don't break laws and I don't break rules, but I realize as, you know, last few months and maybe since last year, I'm like, no, it's like that rebel. Like, don't tell me what to do. And I do want to be my own boss. I'm not in the vibration of that setting anymore of, you know, having higher management and you got to do this and you got to do that. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm happy with what I do because I've been working as a, you know, medical assistant, working with, you know, workers' comp patients. And I used to work with an attorney before that that defended the injured worker. So I that's all I know. I know all of that. I know it, and I love helping people, but I just know that I'm not meant to be in that setting anymore. So it's not like I go in there and I'm super measurable. I'm not. I'm just like, don't tell me what to do because I'm going to totally do the opposite. But I just know that it's because I'm meant to do this. But I'm going to do it. And you'll be the first one I call and be like, dude, guess what?
Like, guess what? I put in my 2 week.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, you got very like the world pretty much is your oyster, you know, like God is like, hey man, like you really want to leave that? You really want to, you know, like do this, your mission here? Here it is. Here's it's presented to you, you know, and I think that's beautiful because there's a lot of us who hesitate with taking that next step because we feel like, oh, what's that going to be like? I don't think it's going to be stable. You know, all these fears come into play or whatnot. But I feel like as soon as you say, okay, I'm done, I'm over it, I'm gonna do it, that's when more like you like more abundance comes, like it slaps you in the face, like, see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen it and I've seen it. It's like, I don't know if you remember me reaching out. I'm like, dude, like chaos is happening right now. I really need your help. And, you know, you were so awesome to put it out there for prayers to come in. And I knew, man, I sat here in the room in my space and I'm like crying as if I don't know what the heck was going on. And I know it's the universe really making it uncomfortable for me. Like, Sam, when are you going to move out of there? You know, because that's all it was doing. And I'm sitting there like, why is this happening to me? And then finally it was like this feeling came over me and I just put my arms down. I was like, all right, universe, like I know exactly what you're doing. Like I can't ignore it. The more I ignore it, the more it's going to continue to smack me around and be like, when are you going to leave? Um, and after that happened and after all of that chaos got resolved, you know, there's been a little bit of that, okay, at any moment the universe is going to come at me again with another one because I didn't listen the first time and I didn't listen the second time, so you better get out before something else happens. So I'm not trying to wait for something else to happen. I just gotta go for it.
Yes. And guess what's happening already? We are in the Taurus full moon energy already. We just transitioned to it today. And so we got all of this energy of Taurus, grounding energy, which is the opposite of Scorpio, that is all about the future, planning the future, long-term goals. And so this energy, I feel like it's definitely going to assist you and propel you forward and really just opening that path for you and just you planting things and that are going to be rooted in you know, I would say long term, you know. And so another thing that I wanted to ask you is you know, as a medical professional, Are you going to, I always think medical professionals are like the perfect healers because they know, the human anatomy. They know about diseases and things like that. And I feel like you as a medical professional are going to provide that link from, science to spirit. And so truthfully, I feel like this is definitely something big for you that's coming in the near future, where when you start to step into your journey, and I feel like if you do that, like a correlation with that, it's gonna be big. I feel like it's like a combination of like what I do, it's a medical intuition, but I feel like for you you're gonna get a lot of people with physical ailments because you're used to working with them already. And so are you planning of doing that, like maybe possibly in the future opening your own location for this type of healing therapy?
You know what, Starry, this is crazy. That's crazy that you're bringing that up, because the other day I do a lot of like daydreaming, right? Or daydreaming, visualization, a lot of daydreaming though. And I sat there and I saw like a line of people like outside of my house, right? Just because I have this amazing space where I do my healing work. But I saw like a line of people who were specifically coming for physical ailments. And I'm like, would that ever happen? And I remember years ago, I'm going to say about 10 years ago, because my son is about to be 11, he was a baby. There was a lady I had seen at that time who had said something about, you're a medical medium. And I'm like, what in the world is a medical medium? And I'm like, there's no way. I don't understand what you're saying. And now it's funny because I, for a second, wanted to be an RN. I took all of the prerequisites to go into the RN program, physiology, anatomy, microbiology and all that stuff. And, got amazing grades. But when I tried to go into the RN program, which was lottery based out here in the school I was trying to get to, I didn't get picked the first time. I didn't get picked the second time. And then my husband kept, pressing, are you going to try again? Are you going to try again? I'm like, no, I think I'm just meant to be a movie star and be that director, producer I've always wanted to do, no, I'm meant to like totally work with Salma Hayek, and no, I'm not going to try again. But in the back of my mind, I knew that somehow it was going to help me. So when I started to do this work, in the back of my mind, I somehow felt like understanding the body, the anatomy, and how everything works was going to somehow merge together with the healing. When I am working on somebody, through Zoom or in person, but more in person, I feel their physical ailments. And when I started working as a medical assistant in 2005, when I would go in the room to interpret, from the English to Spanish or vice versa, I could feel the pains exactly what was hurting. And the doctor would say, okay, ask him if it hurts here. And I'm like, no, it doesn't hurt there. It hurts right here because I'm feeling the pain. But I didn't understand even then, and I haven't really sat down with it, sorry, and how that's going to look like. But I feel that with time, somehow that's going to open up for me. I've seen it, this line of people just outside of my space of people who are here, not only for emotional stuff, but seriously, just physically. I don't like to put out there that I have the capacity to heal a physical ability, even though I used to be able to do it with my mom and I've done it with my family. But when I do sessions with people who have claimed to have, a back pain or a knee pain or whatever pain, they come back to their next session stating that they don't feel that pain and discomfort anymore. So there are times when I do think about it and say, okay, if I'm doing it, maybe unconsciously assisting them with that pain, what's going to happen when I consciously really focus on that? You understand what I'm saying? But do I have a plan with it? I don't. So it's interesting that you're saying it. And I'm going to kind of bring back what you said about the moon and Taurus and visualizing and, kind of stepping into what your future plans are. Because when you and I talked for a second to plan this, and we picked this date, I was like, that's going to be awesome because I know it's all about planting the seeds, right? About the future. Oh,
Yes.
I'm like, oh, poop. It's on the full moon a day before the 31st. This is good. Like, this is good. This is good. So yeah, anyways, this is good because you're, like highlighting and emphasizing and being a confirmation of what I need to hone in on. You know what I'm saying? But the medical part, I really haven't really honed in on that. But because you're mentioning it, because I've seen it, because it's happening already, I'm going to definitely put some thought into that. How, yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just kept picking up this vision or whatever. And I'm just like, this girl, I don't know why your guys are like, tell her about that. And I'm just like, okay, I'll tell her about that. So yes, I'm excited. But yeah,
Yeah.
so this is definitely a big, I feel like this is definitely a big thing for you. That is really like when you were talking about movie stars and Selma Hayek, I was like, pretty much feel like that's going to happen, where you're going to be running into people who are like at that caliber of success, you know, and so it's definitely a very bright future that I'm seeing for you. So yay!
Yeah. I'll take you with me, comadre. No, and you know, it's so funny because my husband always says, when I met my husband, he works for the fire department. So I went to go visit him at the fire station and he opened up his locker and then boom, there's a picture of Salma Hayek. I'm like, yeah, boy, you better take that down and replace it with my picture, please. So every time she's on TV, I'm like, whatever. So he's like, when are you going to start working with Salma Hayek? I'm like, soon. Okay. Like, seriously, for some reason, I don't know why I always go back to, if there's a movie star I want to work with. There's a list of people. She's the one that always comes up. And then, you know, of course, I'm like, you know, you got to meet my husband because he has a crush on you. So I don't know why. I just always in my journaling and a lot of stuff from back, you know, from, years, for some reason, she's always there. I see myself, you know, talking to a lot of women specifically and helping in their healing. And she's always that one person I invite to also, you know, show up and talk to these girls, you know, to everybody in every culture and every age. But, you know, a lot of the Hispanic culture, you know, it's really difficult because they grow up, we grew up in a world where, you know, if you didn't accomplish your dream by a certain age, oh girl, you're done. You have a family, you have kids, your dream is dead. Totally forget about it. And it actually really makes me mad. So I want to be able to help people because I believe that men go through this as well. But you know, women specifically, to help them break away from that belief system that just because I have a family or just because I just turned 30 and I didn't get to do this one thing I always wanted to do, my opportunity has, you know, slipped away. And that's not the case. So that's definitely one of the things that I do see myself doing, is being able to, you know, do workshops or freaking fill conventions and being able to just help these girls move away past those limitations. You know what I'm saying? But Salma Hayek is always right there. So we'll see.
Ándale. La salmita. Norma says, la patadita de suerte. Ari es la madrina.
Oh, hey, you're going to go from my comadre to my madrina. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm so grateful that we got this opportunity to do this interview. And if you guys are interested in booking with Sam, she does have a Facebook business page called Amethyst Hands, and she has beautiful pictures plastered all over there with her on there. I love your pictures. I was like, oh, look at her. You go get that. And so if you guys are interested in keeping up with her, I highly recommend that you go follow and like her page. And she's going to be working on more things, I'm sure of it. But yeah, so just go and follow and like and book with her tonight. See how that rhymes? And thank you guys again for watching. And, I hope you guys like this segment, and we're going to continue on for the next interviews. And if you guys who's ever watching right now who is a practitioner, shoot me an email, okay, so that we can see if we can get you in, on here as well, because what I want to do is I want to expand the healing healers out there like Samantha, to the community, especially for Hispanics too, because I feel like there is a stigma, behind, healing or curanderos, curanderas, or shamans or whatever, because of the fear that, that's evil, or psychic ability is the devil's work, because of the way that we were raised. And so if you guys are, even if you're not Hispanic, there's still a stigma, out there. And so if you guys are interested in getting interviewed by me, shoot me an email at StariAri333@gmail.com, so we can, discuss this even further. And thank you so much, fam, for being here. And that's all we have for tonight. Is there anything you would like to say to the audience?
Oh my gosh. No, I think I talk a lot. No, I just really want to say thank you for this opportunity. Like I said, it was like super scary at first. I'm like, no, like this is a perfect time, full moon. It's starry. She's my comadre. Thank you for doing this, and for other people out there. I definitely am interested in meeting more healers out there. I'm always honest with my clients, and there is something that I feel like I do not have the capacity to do. If it's beyond the scope of what I'm able to do, I'm always happy to refer out to somebody that can. I've done that, like I said, I've done that with my sisters. So definitely I'm interested in connecting with other healers as well. But no, just, like I just put it out there on Amethyst Hands, doing the healing is like super difficult, because it means having to face all of those emotions that you have ignored. And it's even harder than when you're going through the experience itself, whatever trauma you're going through. Yeah, that's difficult, but it's when you tuck it away, when you turn your head the other way and you go on with life. You're like, yeah, I'm over it. I'm past it. But you ignored it. You just tucked it down. And I just think energetically, maybe since last Lionsgate portal, I really feel like the energies have gotten stronger and coming in right and left. And it's like, whoa, what the hell just smacked me? And it's going to continue to get stronger. So, heal, face it, face those emotions. And, there's amazing people out there that can hold space for you and help you out. So that, because if you ignore it, it's just going to get worse and stronger, do the healing work. Take advantage of this amazing Halloween energy, to do that healing. And even if it's not on a full moon, just get it done. I've cried to you before when I'm in that full passion of sorry, I just want to help everybody. I don't know if you remember that. I just want to heal everybody. And you're like, you can't save them all, Sam. I'll never forget that, because I was in that space of wanting to just help everybody. I wanted to be in that space of I just want to heal everybody, because I know what it feels like to be in that emotional pain. Like, I get it. But I realized when I depleted myself in the month of November and December last year, which is why I had to block some of my time to breathe and to do me, is because I tried to do too much last year. I tried to be there for everybody. If somebody called me and said, Sam, I really need you, I'm like, yeah, girl, let's get you in. All right, I'm gonna squeeze you right in here. Let's get it done. But I exhausted myself. I was like a mummy. I would get invited to gatherings and I was like that introvert in a corner, but it's just, I didn't have the energy to even talk to another human. So I learned a lot from that. And what you said always just rang in my head, like, you can't save everybody. So, I wish that I could. As a child, I always said I wanted to be like Jesus, where I could just touch you and you were healed, but not because I wanted to be looked at as, oh, I'm Jesus, but because I didn't like to see people in physical and emotional pain, even as a child. And more so, and more now that I understand it even more. Yeah, girl, I'm going to keep going on and on and on. So I'm here to help everybody and anybody, and I just thank you for this opportunity. And I'm just excited to see what's to come ahead too.
Yes. Thank you so much. And so yeah, so that's all we have. Oh, hey Erica, Shaman Erica's here.
Oh,
So yeah, just girl, hit me up, girl, get you
yes,
interviewed.
yes.
And
Erica,
you too,
Shaman.
Norma. You too. You're hiding over here with your Gemini self. So thank you guys so much for being here and for
Thank
supporting
you. Appreciate it.
Samantha. And again, like I said before, I have information about her Facebook, in the comments below. So if you guys click that link, you guys go directly to her Facebook. So, follow her as well as like her page so that you can know what she's updating or what she's up to, things like that. So stalk her, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
She's a
please.
Scorpio, she can handle it.
Yeah.